Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey. It's 4:19 in the a.m. on a Saturday. I don't know why I'm opening that way, like this is some kind of radio show. How are you guys? Hope you're well. I'm okay. Nuts, thanks for dropping the link. How are you tonight, sweetheart? Guys, I am tired. I'm so tired right now. I gotta leave Michigan. I really do. My sinuses, man. I hate sinus problems because they just make me tired and I just want to sleep. And I've spent like more than half of the last 2 days actually asleep, which is nice because normally when I'm in bed, I don't sleep. But I feel like I'm wasting my life now. I feel like a teenager again. I need to be up and doing things. And that's what we're here for now. We're up and doing things so we can talk about the world around us. Did you guys? I saw somebody in chat mention cockroaches. Well, you just said roach. But did you guys see the video that Drama Alert retweeted about Asmongold with the roach crawling on him? For those who don't know who Asmongold is, he's a Twitch / YouTuber who was kind of made it big largely from sucking up to e-thoughts and then distancing himself from them after white knighting for him over and over again. He's one of the people who got mad at if you say anything bad about Pokimane, it's just because you're a sexist pig. I can say he looks like Jesus's retarded brother Jethro, and that's not sexist. But if you point out Pokimane is, well, a vapid bimbo, then that's just sexist. Anyway, he is notoriously a fucking slob. And literally one time during his stream, somebody said the video is from 3 years ago. I know it's old. I don't know how old it is. But yeah, he's sitting there in his fucking bedroom streaming, and a roach starts crawling across his ass. A big-ass one, too. And people have shown, I guess he put the picture out. He had to have, unless somebody snuck in Revenge of the Nerd style and put a camera in his ceiling. But he took a picture of his fucking room, and it's gross. He had like 900 cups and just trash everywhere. This guy's a fucking very rich streamer, and he lives like a hobo. Actually, worse than a hobo, because hobos don't have all that trash around them. They move too much. He lives like he's under a bridge somewhere. He lives like an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, which is a good segue, believe it or not. Guys, we're going to talk tonight about some misinformation. We got to talk about misinformation because, well, the election is coming up, and that's going to be a big theme again. We got the misinformation. I have a lot more to say about Asmongold, but none of it's really nice. I just thought it was funny that his roach video popped back up. And that's kind of relevant too, because I get onto my Twitter tonight and I see people going after Elon Musk. Why now? Well, this time it's because he shared an old headline. And I'm going to put the headline on the screen because I'm going to share the screenshot that he shared, actually. Biden to prioritize legal status for millions of immigrants. And you'll notice at the bottom of this screenshot, there's a date. It says published 8:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 16th, 2021. And there's a lot of people who are like, he's spreading misinformation. This is 3 years old. It's 3 years old. This doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's discuss. There are times, and this seems to come more from the right than the left, where I will see an old headline, right? I'll see this big thing is blowing up and we got to talk about it. Oh my God. And if you go and find the article, whatever it is that's pissing people off, it's from 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I've seen 10-year-old articles this way. And they're like, look at what they're doing. And it was something that never mattered. It was a one-time outrage piece. And they always crop off the date on those. If I come across a screenshot of a headline that's supposed to infuriate me and I don't recognize it, we see a lot of that stuff anyway. So a lot of times I notice it right away. But if I haven't seen the article before, the first thing I do is go look it up. I look it up, I find the actual article, and more often than not, It's like from 2017. I'm like, Jesus Christ. In this case, there's a reason to leave the date on the screen. It was done on purpose. He wasn't trying to hide that this was a 3-year-old article. This is literally 4 days before Biden takes office. And even at that point, he was talking about how he wanted to prioritize legal status for illegals. That shows a pattern of behavior. It's not a win to go, that's a 3-year-old article. That's just showing that for at least 3 fucking years, it's been public that this asshole is on the side of illegals. Oh, but boy, are the liberals mad. Oh my God. One boy told me that this was fear mongering. It's fear mongering, don't you see? Fear mongering. It's reality. It's literally reality. One other idiot pops up with, there would have been 8-year wait time. An 8-year wait time if this bill passed. All right. 8 years that they get to live in the country the way a legal immigrant doesn't. The 8 years that they get to live here illegally and get a jump in the line. Because do you guys know the average it takes to legally immigrate to the United States right now? It's between 10 and 15 years. And they're going to give illegals a shortcut. Having it. Cut that shit right in half for the furthest end. And I see that it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. There's no reason for them to be here. And the idea that it's somehow misinformation for Elon Musk to point out that our president has been on this fucking kick since before he took the oath, it's just asinine. That's not misinformation. It's just the truth. But who cares about truth in political discourse, right? We have to lie about stuff. We got to lie because Joe Biden's going to lose if we don't. I'm already getting annoyed, guys, because I'm starting to see it already with... I saw an article from The Hill. Let's pull that one up because it just amused me the way that they presented this. So they're talking about how Republicans have started infighting over whether Biden will be impeached. It's become a shit show. Okay. There's some truth to that. And anybody who really thought Biden was going to be impeached was probably wishfully thinking. One, unlike the Democrats, Republicans have to worry about the press side of it. But that's not the biggest point of it. The biggest point is there's not a smoking gun. There's a lot of smoke. But we really haven't found the fire yet. Not in a way that a politician is going to tie his reputation to it. I think Biden should be impeached. He should probably be in prison. I think we've seen enough to show that this man abused his office and set his son up with some, let's call them shady dealings. Reps have no balls either. You're not wrong, Nuts. And that's a big part of it. And this used to be the way impeachment worked. This is why the impeachment, the system is set up as it is. The founders wanted it that if you're going to remove that guy, there needs to be some political consequence for it. Good or bad. Consequences aren't always bad. We always use the word consequence as a bad thing. Consequence just means this happened because of that. They wanted there to be consequences. They wanted it to be, if you're going to remove this guy, you better have a goddamn good reason. And that used to be how we did things. If these guys were going to impeach, you were like, hey, you better have some shit. And then Trump comes along and like, nah, it's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. Now, when they impeached Clinton, the original things they were looking at were serious and real. The Rose Law Firm bullshit. What they ended up impeaching him over, he did break the law. He technically lied under oath. He committed perjury. That is a crime. So at least in that case, you had a crime. And then Trump comes along, and to get back at him, they impeach him over nonsense twice. And they did it the second time. Not there is the part of it, to try to keep him from being president. But the bigger issue there was, even if they couldn't keep him from being president, just so they could say he was twice impeached. And they love saying it. It was purely political, and they paid no price for it. None. Anyway, so it wasn't The Hill. I'm sorry. This is from CNN. I don't remember where I saw it. I just want to be clear here. I didn't see this from CNN. Somebody linked a different article that said, according to CNN. So I went to the CNN link. If you send me a link like that, I am going to go look at the original or the original story instead. Largely because that's typically on a more reputable website. Thank you so very much, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. If we lived in just times, Biden would be lambasted by everyone for his family's corrupt and shady dealings. The same could be said for 90% of Congress. However, impeachment is a tribalistic weapon now. And again, it was meant to be that way. But it was also at a time when country came before party. And we're not there anymore. We're just not there anymore. But anyway, this says, House GOP skeptical Biden inquiry leads to impeachment as the election draws near. Dun, dun, dun. But where I saw it, where's the one part that I wanted from this? It basically talks about how the Republicans are, hey, this isn't working out, and it's probably gonna fuck up. And as how do you say her name? Malayotakis from New York said, we should let the people decide in November. But in here, Republicans have struggled to articulate a clear, tangible case that rises to the level of an impeachable offense. And the fact that CNN wrote that just made me laugh, because here's the reality. The reason the Republicans haven't been able to articulate the case is because no matter what they say, they could come out and have Biden on film saying that he blackmailed another country to fire somebody investigating a company his son got a job with. And the media would come out and go, that's not a big deal. And that's not a hypothetical. It's really happened. The media runs 24/7 defense for this. The Biden administration, even more than Obama did, has the press just deflecting every fucked up thing this idiot does. And then they have the nerve to say shit like this. Republican message just isn't breaking through. Really? Next, you're going to tell me water's wet. It's amazing to me when I read these guys. And this is how it's going to be presented for the next year, guys. We got a year of this shit all the way through the election. This doesn't stop on November, whatever election day is this year. First Tuesday following the first Monday of November. It doesn't stop there. It's going to keep going, especially if Donald Trump wins. But all we're going to see is how Biden is so great. Look, the economy shit. Our economy is in the trash. It just is. Inflation's down and unemployment is down. Unemployment is where it's at because we don't have enough working people right now. We don't. We're getting close again to where we would be at what would be considered a net zero unemployment. Typically around 3% unemployment is like, that's as low as you're ever going to go. But a large part of that is a whole bunch of people who are no longer looking for work. Whole bunch of people who are boomers and are retired now. We have a lot of jobs out there. So our unemployment isn't low because of anything they did. It's just recovered to where it was before. We just saw the BLS numbers came out, and what was it? 353,000 jobs. 353,000 jobs were reported for last month. All right, let's talk about that. When the BLS, that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, issues their preliminary report, because that's what this is. When they issue that report, it's preliminary. That's the whole point of it. This is our best guess. Well, next month, what they will do is they will take this month's number and adjust it. And then the month after that, they will take it and adjust it one more time, and that will be the final number. I've been following BLS, the labor statistics thing, since going back to the Bush administration. So I first became aware of that and how all this stuff is done. And I've been following it ever since then. And it's not uncommon for that number to be adjusted. It's literally part of the thing, because the first one is just what they do is they call people up and go, "How's your job prospects?" That's what they do. Is anybody unemployed in your house? Who's been looking for work? Who got work? And it's a phone survey. So as they do the phone survey, they go, okay, we can take the numbers that we have here and adjust it for the whole population. And that's how we end up. Then the real numbers come in, and we get to see who actually got jobs. And typically it moves a little bit, sometimes up, sometimes down. With the Biden administration, it's amazing how almost everyone has been not just adjusted down, but adjusted down in both months of adjusting. So they get this big headline, 353,000 people got jobs. And 2 months from now, that number might only be 200,000, because there have been some big jumps I've never seen before in the BLS numbers. Where, yeah, Biden got 300,000. Actually, it was like 95. It is ridiculous. And it's done just to lie for the guy, because they got to convince people. They have to convince people that the economy is not the shithole we all can see it is. It's not even a question. Some idiot was like, no, inflation is down. People are still paying about 15% more for groceries than they were 4 years ago. That inflation is down to 3% right now doesn't erase that. It's about 15, and depending on what products you're looking at, 15 to 20%. There is a reason they don't count food when they're looking at inflation numbers, because it would make people cry. And Biden's inflation would have been in the 20s instead of what he cap out at 13. It would have been in the 20s easily. But they only know it's long-lasting goods, like a new machine press. Yeah, that's what people are looking at when they want to see how bad the economy is if they opened a machine shop, how much would it cost to buy a new machine? Fucking assholes. What's up, Jack? How you doing, my friend?
Oh, not bad. How you doing?
I'm annoyed because I pay attention. Yeah. I can't help it.
Why are you annoyed? You paying attention again?
Yeah, that the whole thing with Elon Musk and these idiots. He's given disinformation by just pointing out that they all act like that picture, the screenshot that he shares, that clearly shows the fucking date. Like he was trying to hide the date, as though Biden just said that he was on the illegal side, when what he was really doing is proving that Biden's been that way since the beginning.
Look, Elon is full of hate facts.
Yeah.
And they really don't like that. I think they just don't like African Americans.
I think you're probably right. It's got to have something to do with that. And think, in Black History Month even.
I know, right? Bastards.
Yeah. It's annoying to me. And it's going to get worse, Jack, because it is the election time, and the press is going to do nothing but run defense for Biden and his shitty family and his shitty policies and his shitty economy. It's annoying to me. You know how much I hate the press anyway.
Yeah, as you should.
Did you see the clip from Dr. Drew on with fuck, what's his name? Dave Rubin?
No.
It's a good clip. We're gonna watch it. And while we're doing that, how are you, my friend?
I'm tired.
Me too, dude. I just want a nap. Not with Jack. I'm sure he's fun to cuddle with, but I don't cuddle with dudes.
Yeah, I'm not much of a cuddler.
But I wouldn't mind a nap.
Yeah, I really want one, but every time I try and take a nap, something comes up, or no, I got stuck doing a bunch of fucking shit. My dad wasn't feeling good yesterday, so I ended up effectively being the only person that would sit with him.
Hmm.
And I'm fucking exhausted. I've been awake for way too long.
Well, I hope you get some sleep eventually, my friend.
Yeah, eventually I will.
All right. So this is Dr. Drew on with Dave Rubin.
How much did your
Do I need to turn that down?
Probably a little bit.
Because it seemed loud to me, but I have my headphones on, and it's kind of hard for me to judge there.
political evolution shift because of the COVID craziness? Because when I had you on last time in studio, it was still in LA, so it's about over 2.5 years ago, you were still sort of saying some nice things about Fauci, and I know you guys have a history. I sense you've shifted a bit on that, or at least you're amenable to some other ideas.
I am open to everything now. I'm open to things that I never thought I would have been open to. And I really think that the door fully came open. I've realized that everything in the news is BS.
It's a little late in life for him to come to this, but at least he finally did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything in the news is BS. Even stuff that you have to realize, even stuff where they do tell you the truth is done for a reason. It's done to push an agenda.
Well, yeah, of course. Oh, real quick. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Howdy, Jack. Want to get upset? Eric July released an apology video where he defended the Soka twins post and then stated he needed to start acting as the owner of a multi-million-dollar company on Twitter. Yep, I watched that. It really did piss me off because basically he said, I'm just going to live in an echo chamber. Because he said, I'm going to ignore the haters and talk to my fans. The way he addressed it just said, I want to live in a echo chamber. And he blocked me like a bitch. So he didn't want to address anything. He's just being a baby. Yeah, I've lost all respect for Eric July. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you and I have talked about Eric before, and his biggest problem is the echo chamber. He's been building to this forever.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't just done a straight up Steve Shives block list.
I am too. And
yeah,
honestly, I think Eric's got too thin of a skin to
Yes.
be running a company and have a Twitter handle.
Yep, he really does. But Eric July goes by Young Ripa. He's a YouTube commentator, and he has his Ripaverse comic series that he's released. We've talked favorably about the guy before. We've also talked negatively about the guy before. He is one of those people that, like you say, his echo chamber, he's got to get out of that shit. And his thin skin, Jesus Christ, you cannot disagree with that, man.
No, he cannot handle criticism, and he acts like a tough guy, but then he runs and hides behind blocks.
Mm-hmm.
That's not being tough, dude. That's being a bitch. So I'm real disappointed in him. I thought he was better than that, but the last 6 months, year, he's been really just like he cannot handle criticism, and he just runs to his echo chamber and hides too much. It's really kind of pathetic. So yeah, I've lost a lot of respect for the guy. And he likes to do this thing where he calls people out without actually naming them.
Oh,
and I think that's cowardly.
Do we have a couple of new trolls in chat. Hi guys, hope you're well. All right, back to Drew here, because he tells a story that explains where he had a major realization. And it's a sad state of how America is today, honestly.
Real quick. Thank you, Comrade Kitty. Hey, Jack, Amberlin fell again. 5.1 earthquake in Oklahoma. Shook my whole hospital I was working at.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, ever since she moved to Oklahoma, she's just like plop, whole place shakes. I don't think Oklahoma had earthquakes before that.
They're having them now. Whatever fault is moving, whatever land masses are pushing against each other, they're in a state of flux in Oklahoma right now.
Yeah, because Amberlyn, she's really heavy.
See, I feel like, they used to have lots of tornadoes and shit like that, and God was like, damn, I can't kill him. It's time for tornado. Now it's time for earthquakes.
I'll just shake the ground a bunch, piss him off.
I expect to wake up someday soon and be like, Oklahoma has worst hurricane in history. They're not even on the fucking ocean.
Yeah, they have a tsunami.
God just hates
lakefront.
Oklahoma.
It's starting to look that way.
You're the reason God made Oklahoma. All right, back to Dr. Drew here.
Everything. There is nothing that I can consume on any legacy media that I can trust. And that is shocking, and that's disturbing.
It's disturbing, but seriously, Drew, that should not be shocking at this point.
No, that was true 10 years ago. It's just so much more obvious now. Where's he been? Has he not been paying attention to anything?
He is the kind of person I talk about when I say most people still get their news from mainstream news sources. You know what I mean? He was watching CNN and MSNBC and reading CNN. He's watching the stuff you're supposed to watch to be informed. And if that's all you're going to watch, then it will be a surprise to you to learn that it's all full of shit. Anyway.
And it makes you wonder how long it's been going on for. And I'm concerned it might have been a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a very long time, sir. You can go all the way back to Walter Cronkite talking about the quagmire and see how long this bullshit has been going on. The quagmire of the North Vietnamese rising up and pushing us out of places for a day. The quagmire in Vietnam was not that the North Vietnamese stood a chance against us. They stood a chance against our politicians.
Yeah.
And Cronkite ended up getting a lot of people killed who didn't need to. Fuck that old dead bastard. Anyway.
Was there a straw that broke the camel's back on that specifically?
Yes. Yeah. I was going to tell you that my interview with my first interview with RFK Jr., he was so reasonable and so smart and so many interesting ideas and enlightened me to this cozy relationship between the regulators and the pharma companies, which I really wasn't aware of. I mean, I can't let a pharma company representative into my office to give me a pen with a drug name on it, and yet those guys are living together. And
that's true. There are rules about what doctors can get, since he is an actual doctor, what a pharmacy rep can give him. But they can give that to the regulators who decide all this shit. Anybody think that's a good idea?
I'm sure the lobbyists do.
I keep getting told that I should trust the media because of Walter. Apparently, that's proof the media doesn't lie. Yeah, Walter Cronkite was a piece of shit. Oh, Uncle Walt, the most trusted man in America, Jack.
Yeah. That guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Cross-pollinating job. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. Yeah. So, and that he had a very sensible, didn't necessarily fully agree with it, but a sensible idea about vaccine research that he would like to push forward. Not that vaccines are bad. His family's all vaccinated. My family's all vaccinated.
And for the record, his idea about vaccine research is just, actually doing it. Actually going through trials and making sure this shit is good before we push it on everybody. That's the
crazy.
The craziness of him. Yeah.
And at the end of that interview, he said something to me. I've met him now many times since then. He goes, "Oh my goodness, Drew, you are so courageous to talk to me." And I thought it blew me back in my chair. I thought, I need courage to have a conversation with an adult in a public setting. And he was right. This is a time where I didn't.
He was right. I'm super courageous, you guys.
Drew got to find out exactly what he was talking about, because suddenly Drew was bringing on a misinformation vax denier, this asshole who spreads misinformation about the safety of vaccines.
Our overlord Fauci. Oh, praise be his name.
But listen to how Drew said that, right? I need to be courageous to have a conversation in public. It's not like they were hiding what was being said, right? It's for everybody to see so you can judge for yourself.
And that's why it's wrong, Monkey.
But it's very courageous because people are going to come after you. And it's, it is what happened.
Realize how much speech was being suppressed, how much was being manipulated, how much. Then what happened after that was the Twitter files, and started seeing what's going on. And it's just been to me this is all reprehensible. And what has happened as a result, I don't think I've shifted my political views. I'm just really I never imagined I'd be in this point in my life at this age and place in my career. Freedom and freedom fighting and the courage to stand up for it have been the most important thing in my life right now. And that's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy because we shouldn't need to have these discussions. We shouldn't need to be talking about, hey, is it okay for him to talk to RFK on stream and ask him pertinent questions about the topic at hand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not talking about Hassan sucking off a terrorist here. We're talking about two men who are knowledgeable about what they're talking about having a discussion. They're like, how dare you put him up there? Do you realize he's running against Joe Biden for president?
Son of a bitch.
Do you realize he's questioning Fauci? Oh my God.
Oh, he can't do that. That's not allowed.
But, he mentions the freedom of speech thing. That always resonates with me. But he's right. He's right. We shouldn't need to have that conversation. I thought we discussed or we decided this freedom of speech thing, I don't know, somewhere around 1790.
It was decided, but it's problematic now, Monkey. So gonna have to make that go away.
Oh, it's annoying as shit. But again, see, I mean, this is a guy. How old is Dr. Drew? He's got to be getting in his 60s.
I would think so. I'll look up.
And he's just coming to the realization that the news lies to him.
Well, he's a slow learner. He's a little slow on the uptake. He's 65.
And I don't think he's slow. I think he's normal. I think this is what normal people are seeing. This is why, guys, I don't think you were here for that part, Jack, but the news telling us the Republican message just isn't resonating. You mean when the media just runs cover for Biden 24/7? If all you're watching is that media, you're going to think Trump is the worst person ever who ever lived, and Joe Biden is a fucking saint. A saint who stood up for black people and is Puerto Rican somehow in Scranton. And his dad was a coal miner. No, his father, he was a truck driver. No, wait. All of it, you just believe how wonderful Joe Biden is. But if you actually paid attention, you'd see these guys lie to you. But Jack, you have to trust the media. Donald Trump attacked the media. Did you guys see he called us the enemy of the people?
Look, it's their job to inform us, Monkey.
It's their job to tell us what to think.
It's true.
That's what the woman married to the guy who had a dead woman in his office said.
Look, interns just fall over dead sometimes. They're like disposable lighters. Just throw them away and get a new one.
You ever get the feeling that our leaders treat interns like serial killers treat prostitutes?
All the time, dude.
They just kind of die and nobody cares. Anyway. Oh, God. What else do we have on the agenda today? I don't really want to talk. Oh, we got a Fani update, Jack. Fani,
you're gonna update us about your Fani?
We got to talk about Fani. Fani is not gonna have to testify under oath. That's not the story we're going to be reading, but it's in the story. They mention it. The Wades, that's the guy she was fucking.
Mm-hmm.
They have settled their divorce issues, so they're not going to be doing the deposition. So that's been called off. She doesn't have to go testify about it. However, she did have to answer the guy that's involved in that case who said she's fucking that guy. She had until yesterday to answer that charge with the court, and she admitted she was humping him.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not even a question anymore. It's yes, she was humping him, but don't worry, it's not a big deal.
Their sexual energy when they're banging is how they're going to get Donald Trump this time.
Yeah. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis acknowledged developing a personal relationship with the top prosecutor in former President Trump's Georgia trial, but she said is no reason for her to step aside. Trump co-defendant Michael Roman last month first accused Willis and special prosecutor Nathan Wade of having romantic ties, claiming it rendered the far-reaching Georgia election interference indictment fatally defective. Now, I got to be honest here, Jack. I don't know how her fucking this guy makes the indictment defective.
I think it's the appearance of impropriety. And the various things around that, not the actual sexual act.
I guess I could see that, or even the relationship, right? Because as his boss, basically at that time, it is kind of weird for her to be fucking the guy. It doesn't mean the investigation was fucked up. This is why I pointed out before, guys. The interesting thing here is not that she had a high-priced prostitute on her payroll, male prostitute. It's that he was going and meeting with the Bidens.
Yeah.
He was meeting with the Biden administration over this shit. That is actually where the real, but notice what the press is paying attention to.
Well, of course.
It's the Clinton thing, right? Hey, don't look at the Rose Law Firm stuff. This is all about a blowjob.
Yeah. I mean, it's the definition of what is.
Exactly.
The media is doing the same sleight of hand shit now that they were doing then. So,
and this is why I told you guys just a moment ago, even when they tell you the truth, there's an agenda. There's a reason they're like, yeah, let's talk about the sex side of this. Because they know most people will be like, oh, it's just people having sex. Calm down. Know what I mean? Anyway.
Nothing to see here.
She responded to accusations that the motion is salacious and designed to obtain media attention. That must suck. Miss Willis, people doing shit just for the publicity?
Pot kettle what?
In an attached affidavit from Wade, he insisted he was no more than friends with the district attorney prior to his hiring in 2021. See, guys, right. It's okay that they were fucking. They didn't start it until after she hired him.
Sure.
Doesn't that make it sexual harassment?
It could. I mean, you are in a position of power over somebody that you then started having the sex with.
Yeah.
So that does seem kind of sexual harassy.
That doesn't make it better that they didn't start fucking until after she paid him to be there. That just makes you a whore, sir.
Well, to be fair, he's an expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was pulling almost $1 million.
Hey, that gets addressed.
Did address their extravagant trips too?
Willis also said Wade's compensation, which amounts to at least $650,000, should not be compared to that of other special prosecutors who are tasked with, quote, dramatically less time-consuming work.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Dude made over $500,000 in a year on the Georgia taxpayers' back. But hey, he worked really hard for it, you guys. Remember, one of his claims is that he worked literally 24 hours straight on this one day.
Oh, yeah.
One day he worked 24 hours straight, you guys.
Yeah, like 5 hours of humping, drive time, and then some files and affidavits or something. Sure. Totally possible.
Special Prosecutor Wade made much more money than the other special prosecutors only because Wade did much more work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the allegation, isn't it?
That's the problem, ma'am. He did a lot of work. I mean, he was a cunning linguist.
Look, he was on top most of the time.
Yeah. And when he was asleep, I was still trying to hump him.
I just love that she thinks this was the right response here.
Yeah, I love that whenever the people that are screaming the loudest from the Dem side are always like, no one is above the law except us.
Except
we can have
us.
ethics violations all over the place because we're special and you're a fucking scumbag. We hate you. Ugh.
Wade's wife subpoenaed Willis for a deposition in the divorce case, but that testimony is indefinitely on hold after the Wades reached a temporary agreement settling the matter. Somebody got paid. Thank you, Mighty Balzac. I've seen Fani. Don't say he didn't earn it. I mean, have you seen him? He's not an attractive man. He ugly as fuck too. So
well, we haven't seen his wife either. She might be a real hideous monster.
I'm just saying that you could say she earned it a little bit too.
Yeah,
but what I just read there, because the whole dispute, we talked about this last night, is that she said he was hiding money, right?
He probably was if he's pulling this kind of cash from a stupid investigation.
He's got 650 from this. She points to the fact that he was clearly hiding money and using it to pay for trips for him and Fani.
Yeah.
And suddenly that goes away. They reach a settlement. Now, what do you guys think is more likely? That she finally was like, oh no, he really doesn't have that money. Or he was like, here, bitch, please just shut up.
Or that this is somehow more taxpayer money getting thrown over as hush money written off an expense account.
She got paid. She got paid well. I have no doubt.
I agree.
This all came out and it blew up in his face, and especially with the amount of money that we know he's made. And remember, that article says at least 650. We don't know the total this guy got.
Yeah, is that with or without benefits, travel expenses, etc.? Because how much you want to bet some of their vacations were actually comped as like research or some bullshit?
Got reimbursed for, yeah. All right, so there's our Fani update. What a dirty bitch.
Yeah, honestly, if she ends up having to drop out of this case because of this mess, because of the conflict of interest and whatnot, that case is going to fall apart.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see because the judge is now, this is at the judge because she finally filed it. By the way, she filed it on the last day she could.
Of course she did.
She filed it, and it's a lawyer trick to do this when you know you're in the wrong most of the time. The hashtag, not always. Sometimes they just do it to be dicks, for being honest. But on the 15th, there's a hearing about this. So in a couple of weeks, we'll get to find out whether or not it's getting tossed. Is it getting tossed like Fani's salad was?
Ew.
I'm just assuming. Anyhow, did you watch Medicare's stream?
No, I was busy.
I've only watched about an hour of it because I went to sleep. It was at 8 o'clock tonight, and I was asleep by 7:30.
I've heard it was fantastic, but I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's not, so far from what I've seen, it's not my favorite. He rehashes a lot of stuff that he's talked about before. He does it for a reason. He's showing a pattern with Ralph. But I haven't gotten to the new allegations, which is the part that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So most of what I saw was stuff I already knew.
Did he give advice on how to avoid drug cartel murders?
The one exception that I had no idea this even happened. Did you hear what went on with Rekieta getting catfished?
I heard that happened a while ago, but I never really paid much attention to it.
It was about a month ago, apparently, and I didn't even hear about it.
No, I didn't hear about this.
He gets on some chick named Mandy. Really?
Yeah, I heard part of this.
And that he actually sung Manilo's Mandy on stream to this person. All right, dudes out there, okay? Especially if you're married and you're a streamer, don't go thirsting after other. It's one thing to go, oh, you're pretty. It's a whole nother one to be like, oh, Mandy. You know what I mean?
You
Ugh.
came and you, yeah.
You
If you
gave
start singing
without
Barry Manilow,
taking.
you done fucked up. Unless it's Copacabana, and that's catchy as shit. That's
For
your
the
one
record, I
exception.
love the song Mandy. It's on my
Yeah.
iTunes. I sing it out loud when it comes on.
My mom was a huge Barney Manilow fan.
Mm.
And look, I know way too many Barry Manilow songs. And some of them are really good. Barry Manilow is a very talented leisure suit singer for his time. But if you're singing to somebody on stream a Barry Manilow song, you're either deeply in love or you fucked up super bad. Probably both. Just saying. Uh-oh. Am I alone again? All by myself. Amanda by Boston is better. Yeah, but see, Barry Manilow is one of those guys that that's a romance performer. You know, that's something you put on for like mood music, like Barry White. What's with guys named Barry in mood music? Anyway, so that's
they're smart enough to understand women will take their panties off if you sing to them.
Yes, there is that.
Yeah.
Serenading has always worked.
Yep. All righty. Jack, can you my internet was just out for a second. Sorry about that.
No, I
but will you run things for just a moment?
Sure. So yeah. I heard part of that scandal, but I just didn't care. Some guys are easily catfished, others aren't. I don't know. I don't trust if some anonymous person's like, I love your work, you're getting trolled. That's all there is to it. You just have to assume that. I mean, I'm a middle-aged man with receding hairline heavily, and I'm overweight. Some chick's like, I love you, you're hot. Be like, I don't have any money, leave me alone. So what else is going on? Oh, Fanny, you came and you left without paying. Yep, exactly, Mighty. Except that dude did get a big pile of cash. There's a song about Manilow's dog. Yeah, that would surprise me. That actually would be hilarious. Yeah, Jordan, that's kind of my take on it too. Is I just assume you're a bot or a scammer. Like, no, I do not have any Nigerian prince money. Leave me alone. I do not want to help you. Yeah, the parody version of Copacabana is good, colorful.
All right, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Next up, Jack, we're going to talk about educators behaving badly. And for once, it's almost refreshing that they're not, that they're only being abusive to the students and not sexually abusive.
They're not molesting them.
They're not molesting them.
Oh, that's almost a relief at this point, isn't it?
Right? Got to find those silver linings.
I guess.
Oh, what is wrong with these people? California
standards have dropped.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong about that. California superintendent on leave over claims she bullied softball team for not giving her daughter loud enough applause at award banquet.
I saw that.
I'm not going to read through the article. Well, I'll throw it on chat or in chat because I've already read it. But I'll tell you about it. Let's get her picture on the screen. There she is. Her daughter is a pitcher in the, or was at least. I don't know if she graduated, but she was one of the pitchers for their softball team. And at the award banquet, as people are getting their awards, there's lots of claps. You know how these go.
Yeah.
But when her daughter wins an award, there's not enough clapping.
Oh, you crap now. You crap now.
So mom here, the superintendent of the fucking school, starts calling up the softball players from the team and threatening them and telling them that if they don't admit that there was a conspiracy not to clap for her daughter, that she will keep them from walking for graduation.
A conspiracy to not clap for her daughter? How paranoid are you?
You know, even if that was true, what you tell your daughters, like, hey, sometimes kids are fucked up. Sometimes people are rude and mean. Don't let it bother you. You still won the award. You deserved it. You know what I mean? You don't go, them bitches. She called minors to threaten their education over not clapping for her daughter.
Yeah, a little bit of power goes to some people's heads.
She's being sued by one of the fathers, as is the school district, because the school district just did this. This investigation's been going on for like a year.
Wow.
And they've known this information for like a year. I grew up in Texas. If you didn't cheer your guys out for the football team, your guys out for football. Yeah. In Texas, football is a big thing and you're expected to be cheering and stuff. But did anybody ever get in trouble for not cheering loud enough for one of the people?
Yeah, they were still cheering. They just weren't loud enough.
That woman's kid's going to have issues growing up. That's a good way to make people hate your daughter. Thank you, Keldrick, for the donation. You're right. Yeah, 100%. I don't know what's wrong with her daughter. I don't know if they actually conspired not to clap for her. Maybe she's a twat. Jack, I will happily admit that when my daughter graduated, I did not clap for the valedictorian. You know why? Because
you're not there for the fucking valedictorian.
My daughter worked her ass off, and I think she was second or third in her class. And the valedictorian took all easy classes. She didn't challenge herself at all. You know, as her mom was a teacher. And I did not like the way that schools don't actually look at going above and beyond. And even if my daughter had been, you know, last in the class, I wouldn't have clapped for that bitch because it was a fake award. She didn't deserve it.
She deserved it because her mom was a teacher.
You know what I didn't do? I didn't call the girl up and be like, you fucking bitch. How dare you? What parent does that? Forget the fact that this chick is the superintendent, right? You're a parent. Why would you go threatening children over them not clapping for your daughter?
Some serious ego issues. I don't know. They always bitch about bullying in school, and they're always, the people that do that are always the biggest bullies. I guarantee you this bitch has had like people come in her office and get lectured. Like she's called kids in, like, I'm the superintendent and you're a bully. You're so mean. And then she's doing this shit behind the scenes.
She threatened their ability to walk at graduation.
Yeah.
To withhold their diplomas.
They were conspiring to withhold their applause, monkey. She could conspire to withhold their degrees.
Don't forget the woman who killed a cheerleader because her daughter didn't get on the cheer team. Yeah, there was a movie made about that chick.
Yeah. That's happened a couple of times. People are fucking nuts. Your kids aren't that special. I'm sorry. You're just not. They're not that interesting.
Your kids are supposed to be special to you. Your kids aren't special to me. I don't know your kids. Anyway, Jack, I want to bring this one up because this is more of our media behaving badly. This is somebody went and cropped the news articles on this. It says Tesla recalling another 2.2 million vehicles for warning lights they're too small. There's various different tellings of that story. This is misleading as fuck. It's technically called a recall, but it's not really. It's a software update.
That's kind of different.
This is literally all that's happening. They're making the font on the screen bigger.
That's it?
That's it. Because they said some of the warning lights or some of the warning messages are too small and could cause accidents. No accidents have been caused by this, by the way.
What are you pulling your bifocals down and staring at the fucking console from half an inch away?
My car's growing, you know, you go back, they didn't say anything. A light would light up and you had to know what that light meant. You know what I mean? Or pull over and look it up in the manual. Okay, that means my car is falling apart. Shit, time to call a mechanic. But now they're like, oh my God, you can't read it. One, go back to your warning lights. It's much easier. But they present this, oh, they got to do another recall. Their last recall, Jack, was also a software update. Nobody's taking their cars in and having, like the gas can changed because it's blowing up like a Ford Pinto. I get it. They're EVs, but you get what I'm saying. They're not being taken in because wheels are falling off or they're not stopping when they're supposed to. It's literally a fucking software update.
Yeah, they make it sound like this the Takata airbags.
And literally it's just to make the font bigger. See what I mean, guys?
Insulting. See
what I mean? You can't trust the media, man. Because they're liars. Anyway. I don't want to talk about that one. I mean, I suppose we could. It's just another article, this time from The Hill, about why people don't want electric vehicles. Because they're a downgrade from gas vehicles. They just are. It's kind of relevant to the topic at hand, but we've talked about that one a lot. Yeah, so Mitch McConnell, our dear turtle friend, he wants the senators voting on the bill for the immigration package. I'm sorry, the border security package, to pass it without reading it.
Of course he does, because he's probably making money off of it somehow.
I'm really hopeful that Mike Johnson is honest and rejects this thing outright when it comes to the House, because it'll pass the Senate. It's got funding in it. It is a funding bill. They don't need the 60 votes. They only need 50 plus one. So it's gonna pass. But then it goes to the House, and the House gets to take a scalpel to it or leave it on the floor and never pick it back up. But it does bother me that it's even a suggestion. And Senator Mike Lee, who we watched the other day, or did we get to his? Maybe we skipped right before him. But anyway, during the questioning, he was on that panel thing, the social media gurus. But he tweeted out, senators wouldn't buy a car without test driving it, or at least knowing what kind of car it was, or even whether it was an SUV or sedan. For similar reasons, senators shouldn't vote for a bill they have no chance to read, debate, and amend. I get what he's going for there, Jack. I get what he's trying to get at when he says, you wouldn't buy a car. How about they should read the bill and do amendments and all that stuff, because it's their fucking job. It's literally what
their jobs
do.
No, their job is to take money from lobbyists and ignore the will of the people.
No, that's how they do their job. That's not what their job is.
Is it to conspire against the people and ignore laws?
Let me try a comparison, right? You guys go to, let's say, McDonald's, your favorite fast food place, whatever it is. But for me, we'll just use McDonald's because it's easier. You go to McDonald's and you order a value meal, right? You get in your car and you're driving home. You get home, you open the bag, and the fries are missing. How mad do you get? Now imagine that, but it's the people making the decisions for your entire fucking country not doing their job properly.
And they're making
we wouldn't
more than
accept
$12.
that. Yeah, we wouldn't accept that from a minimum wage fast food worker, but our $174,000 a year senators, no big deal. This is why I say putting term limits in place wouldn't matter, because the next guy's just going to do the same thing, and people will be like, oh, okay, well, we'll let the terms run out, and then we'll get somebody new.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy a car? How about it's our fucking job, Mike? It's our fucking job.
Look, Republicans, their biggest fear is actually having to do something.
Oh.
That's why losing is such a priority for them.
And look, I'm glad that he's trying to bring attention to it and being like, no, we shouldn't pass this without reading it. But Mr. Lee, how many bills have you voted for that you didn't read? Because I guarantee you there's some he's voted that he didn't read. Because it's how you do things up there. They purposefully make this stuff long and boring, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 pages long. Nobody's reading all that shit.
That's why they have such an obsession with comprehensive reform or omnibus bills, because then they can just wedge all sorts of fun pork in there for their buddies, and then nobody's going to ever fucking look at it.
Now I want to switch gears just a little bit. Let's talk about some culture war stuff, Jack, kind of. This is Grums. He's a dev who I want to say was Warcraft he worked on. I know a lot of devs who live in fear from the oppressive HR wokeness going on in game studios. I once had an employee report somebody for bringing Chick-fil-A to work because it made them feel unsafe. Solution? Fire the employee that reported that. And then he asks if any devs have a similar story. If you're him, Jack, who do you fire in that situation? The person who brought the Chick-fil-A or the person whining about it?
Person whining about it, hands down.
Yeah, he's right.
First of all, why do you hate flavor?
Well,
delicious.
Remember, it wasn't about flavor with that. It was because the guy who owns Chick-fil-A was like, I don't believe in gay marriage.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what that guy says. You know why? He's not cooking my goddamn food.
Yeah.
And they hire gay people. The Chick-fil-A I go to has this purple-haired weirdo. You know what they don't do? Fuck up my food, or I won't go there.
Because that's what matters when it comes to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm an employee and I'm looking for medical benefits for my gay husband, then yeah, I probably don't go work for Chick-fil-A because they don't have that in their thing.
Yeah, that's part of the deal when you work somewhere. You should do your research on the places you're applying to if you're that invested in a specific issue. But
well, the thing is, the people who were whining about that weren't employees. It was people who didn't work there going, I can't believe they don't do that for those guys.
Well, to be fair, most of the people that are professional whiners these days don't work at all.
Yeah.
So that's their entire job is bitching on the internet.
Chip says it's because it's the Lord's chicken. Amen. I love me some Chick-fil-A, man.
I do too. Their chicken nuggets are fucking amazing.
I like their grilled chicken nuggets.
Yeah, those are good too.
Oh, I love grilled chicken to begin with.
Yeah. What's not to love?
Yeah. Sometimes breading on nuggets can annoy me. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it could be greasy or, I get you.
I just want the chicken.
I just want the delicious in my mouth.
But this goes to something we've talked about for a long time. HR departments are ruining companies because they're the ones who bring in nonsense like DEI and, oh my God, they had their feelings hurt. If you get your feelings hurt because somebody brought in a lunch, you're an idiot and you should be fired. I didn't feel safe. He brought in Chick-fil-A. You need to be in a padded cell.
Yeah, not only would I fire that person, but I would also fire anybody that took this complaint seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're incompetent.
HR departments were a mistake.
Yeah, I understand they were trying to limit liabilities and things like that. And they started out with noble intentions, but as with all things with noble intentions, some self-righteous Karen took it to an extreme.
Well, when you open up the door to, hey, we got to make everything safe and inclusive, you just go back 30 years, 40 years. It's not that long ago. Still within my lifetime. And you went to work, and if somebody said something you didn't like, and it, not directed at you, you just overheard it, you minded your fucking business. You might go home and tell your wife about the idiot at work. Now you go file a report to get them fired.
Yeah, now you try and ruin someone's life. Look, some people need their lives ruined, but that's a different story altogether because they're assholes. And they're always assholes. It's not because, they brought in some food I didn't like. I need to destroy their career. Ugh.
And not just ruin their life over shit that doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, none of your business. Doesn't affect anyone else. They're eating their fucking lunch. This type of shit is out of control. There are people whose careers have been destroyed over trivialities.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And that doesn't just affect the person that you got fired. It affects their family, too.
I am all for the push to get rid of DEI and DEI departments. They need to go, but they're a symptom. The root of the evil is HR departments. Need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Your human resources should be about, okay, you're hired, here's your paycheck. If something real comes up, if your boss is like, fuck me or I'm firing you, okay, go to HR and be like, this guy, this needs fixed. But that's not what it's used for anymore. It's for social engineering.
Yeah.
As so many things are.
Yeah.
And as a gamer, Jack, I've seen the effects of this stuff happening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why games aren't as fun as they used to be.
And every time that we how do I want to say this? Every time that we make stuff more inclusive, and I'm not talking color, I'm mostly talking women. Sorry, ladies. Shit gets messed up because we can be in men's spaces too. By the way, now that we're here, you have to change everything you've ever done ever.
Yeah.
You got to do it our way because we're just like you guys, so we can do it.
And you have a quota, so you can't fire me.
There's a lot of people, because they don't like Blizzard and Activision, who point to the boys club at Blizzard and Activision and how horrible it was. Because they started hiring women and the women didn't like the way the guys had always behaved.
Yeah. As long as the work is getting done and no one's getting hurt, you don't like job, quit.
How about this? Go out there and make your inclusive game company. Go make an inclusive game company and stop ruining the ones that already exist.
Well, much like the communist revolution, it can never succeed because the changes are never enough.
Yeah. And look, that's not to say that there's been no behavior that didn't need addressed.
Well, of course, but
it's never just that behavior. It's the culture that allowed that behavior, Jack.
So white supremacy.
Didn't HR start as a way for companies to protect themselves from employees? Maybe. I thought it was just a consolidation for how you deal with employees in general.
Well, it is to protect liability, because if an employee is out doing something they're not supposed to be, patting chicks on the ass, the company had a buffer, some oversight that the employee could go to and say, this guy's touching my butt, and they'd figure out how to get rid of bad employees. It was for insurance purposes more than anything else.
They're talking about older comic books and stuff in chat. I mean, comic books is another place this is infected. Movies, television, music, pretty much everything. Jack, it's fair to say that maybe men needed to rein some stuff in a little bit, especially in a workplace. But we're at a point right now where if you and me are at work and we tell a joke and somebody listens in, we're not talking to them. It doesn't affect them. It's not directed at any group they're a part of, but they overhear it. They can go to HR and be like, oh, Monkey said Muslims blow shit up, and I could get fired for it. Even if it was, entirely true. That's not where we should be either.
It used to be back in the day, if you did something like that and somebody got super butthurt about it, the Boston company would say, don't tell jokes around that person, all right? They're being a baby.
Yeah, be careful if that person's around because they're whining like a little bitch.
Yeah, that was the extent of it. The only exception is, of course, actual sexual harassment,
yes,
where you're playing grab ass or you're trying to get somebody to sleep with you to get a promotion. That's what HR should be dealing with. Your HR department should be like 2 people, because that shit rarely happens. There's tons of lawsuits now that are precedent for this. It's been etched in stone 1,000 ways. You don't need that many people to deal with this crap. Instead, what you get are a bunch of busybody Karens that want to be up in everybody's business and get everybody fired that they don't like.
Well, what was her name? Emily Cho? The chick who sued the one, I think it was a law firm that fired her, or maybe it was a tech company, I forget. But she fired them because she had an affair with a married man who worked there. It was all consensual. And she goes to HR and they deal with the problem. And she still sued them. She ends up losing, but she sues them for not taking care of a problem she hadn't told them about, and wasn't a problem because it was a consensual relationship.
It was a problem when it was no longer a two-way street.
Yeah, suddenly it was an issue after he breaks up with her. But even though she loses that lawsuit, if you go back to the time and look at the discussion around it, there were so many people on her side, knowing the facts, with the full facts out there, not even dressed up by the media. Yeah, she didn't even tell them, and they were supposed to know. There have been companies that have been sued. This is true, where the person never went to HR.
Yeah.
Never told anybody at the company, but the company that's the law firm one. A law firm was successfully sued when a woman claimed that she was sexually harassed and they didn't do anything about it, when even she said they had no knowledge because, and I quote, they should have known. You're supposed to be psychic. But Retro, I want to address what you said there. It says the commies saw nerds as as soft targets is my theory. No, you're wrong. Video games, comic books, all of this stuff is media. Commies know the power of media. That's it. That's as deep as it goes. They might point to different targets at different times, but they understand the power of media. And whether it's Hollywood films or Mass Effect Andromeda, they know that if you want to change hearts and minds, you do it through media.
Yeah, it's easier to do with nerds because you just get some pretty girls, and they'll be like, I'll hire you. There's a girl around, she's moderately pretty. So it's easier to infiltrate those groups because you got a bunch of guys that have trouble around women.
But it was just the next thing to take over. I mean, they'd already conquered Hollywood. They'd already conquered music.
Yeah, it's just that they're just going down the checklist. But there are places that are easier to crack than others.
Yeah, I don't think they put as much thought into it as knowing that they were easier to crack. I just think that like, it's the next time, go after them now. And you can see this stuff happen. You can watch it. It always starts with just one stupid thing. They make big titties in video games. And suddenly women are not allowed to play video games. Why won't men let women play video games?
That's very important to see Batman's ass, apparently.
Yeah, the real soft target there, sorry ladies, is women. You'll notice all of this stuff always starts with, look how sexist they're being.
Oh,
misogyny. Always where it starts. Because it's very easy to manipulate children, which is who they target. That's your real soft target, I suppose.
Women or children, Monkey 2024.
No, I was going to expand. And then you add on top of that women who are told that they are oppressed. When was the last time women were told how powerful they were? And it wasn't as some kind of anti-message, right?
Yeah, they some sort of victim narrative. You're so powerful because you're oppressed.
Yes. It's always framed in that way. It's never, women are just powerful. Women are the most powerful people on the planet right now. That's just fact. We do everything based on what women want. They control the narrative. They control politics. They control everything. We are the minority, fellas.
Where we are. Look where society has gone.
But look at how oppressed they're told they are. So you tell people, hey, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. Here's your oppressor. What are they going to do? They're going to go after the oppressor. How dare you? I can't suck babies out of my uterus now. How dare you? You can still do that. But not in Texas.
But it's slightly harder. I have to take a road trip 5 miles.
Fuck, did you see that lady that we talked about who sued to have an abortion that she could have had? Her own doctor didn't say she needed the abortion, which is all that was necessary. Nobody was even going to double check it. But they sued because she needed that abortion. She had to leave the state to get it. Yeah. Biden has invited her to the State of the Union.
Yeah, I saw that.
A fucking douchebag, man. But hey, people don't know the whole story. They just know what they were told because they read normal media. All right, Jack. I wanted to watch a little Bill Maher because I'm kind of torn on this. I really, really am. And we know media has an effect on people, right?
Uh-huh.
The question is how big of an effect. And I'm wondering if I've just become that old man who's like, oh, this music today. Music today sucks, by the way. 90% of it is garbage that is just mass produced in ways that the record companies of the 60s would masturbate to if they saw it could be done this way.
Monkey hates auto-tune.
I do fucking hate auto-tune, but that's not what I'm talking about. These producers now who have the guaranteed hits because they know people respond to certain beats and it's all interchangeable garbage. It's like the 70s, but without the high-pitched singing.
And without any of the talent, because some people had talent back then.
That's true. Even the Bee Gees, whose falsetto really drives me nuts, their songs were catchy at least.
Yeah, they had better writing back then. and so singers that actually had to sing. And plus, there were a lot of ugly people that could sing, and we don't have any of that anymore. You got to be beautiful. You got to have this, like, your vocal range has to fall within this specific parameters for auto-tune to work properly. And then they have this manufactured beat. There's no originality anymore.
In order for auto-tune to work properly, you need to actually not sing very well. What bothers
fall in a certain range.
What really bothers me is I like gospel singing. I really do. I always have, especially a big gospel choir. It's just, even if you don't enjoy the song, it's catchy and fun, and the voices are so powerful. But when it comes to female singers, if they don't sound like that, you're not going to hear them. And there's so many other ranges of voices we should still be hearing.
Yeah.
Every white chick out there doesn't need to sound like a fat black woman at church, okay? Let the fat black woman have her moment, because I like hearing her. But Bill's new rules from tonight addresses music. And I'm curious about your take on this, Jack.
Oh, no.
New rule, if you want to know why your kids are so bratty, entitled, and always asking for your credit card, check their Spotify playlists. Because the messages they're hearing are a full 180 from what kids used to hear when they turned on the radio. Sinead O'Connor will be in the in memoriam reel at the Grammys this Sunday, and it would be great if they quoted what she said when she once pulled out of the show in protest. She said, there is an emphasis in pop music on materialism, and it's not right to give people the message that they can fill their emptiness with material things.
Okay, one, only rich people say that stupid shit.
Yeah.
You can fill a lot of voids with, money, like food. You can fill your stomach with it.
Yeah, money does get you some really cool stuff. And you might be miserable, but you got a bunch of cool shit to occupy yourself. Like, if I had an arcade in my home, I'd be a lot happier.
I get what he's going for here, but one, I don't consider Sinead O'Connor the guru so many did. I'm not a fan of her rendition of Nothing Compares to You. I don't like that really high-pitched, crappy singing.
Her rendition of that was okay. It was just overplayed. Chris Cornell's was way better.
I like Prince's version, which you can get on his greatest hits.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's pretty good, too.
Let's be honest, she had that song, and she ripped up a picture of the Pope, and that's why people like her.
Yeah. The rest of her music was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
It was forgettable pop music. Most of it was kind of subpar.
Money can't buy happiness, but it can rent it for a while. I say it can buy happiness.
I think it depends on the person and what you think is going to make you happy.
Yes, thank you.
A lot of people will be happy with being just a rich person lounging around all the time. Others won't. And there's a lot of other factors other than money that make you happy.
Damn it, Donald. Thank you so much for the donation. He says, there were 7 Spanish angels. There were 7 Spanish angels.
How about this year for a new Grammy category? Best song where no one brags about buying a lot of shit.
I'm kind of with him on that.
I am too. Materialism is largely fine. It's fairly innocuous, but the obsession with it
Yeah.
is that's a problem. Because that's greed. Greed is not just about money. It's about obsessively acquiring something, unhealthy levels of it. And if you're just buying stuff to buy stuff, that is an issue. And this current cultural obsession with just material objects and just going out and buying stuff, I think is incredibly unhealthy.
It's like you mentioned earlier. It's the person and what they actually think they want and what they actually do need.
Yeah.
I'm a materialistic person, and I'm not ashamed of it. But I don't need a Lamborghini, Jack. I need a car.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't want to get a Lamborghini, somebody will steal it.
Or I'll wreck it the day I got it. You ever see that story? The guy who bought that brand new car and fucking destroyed it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. I would never own that nice of a car anyway. I don't need it. Especially if you're really rich, get just like a Corolla. Nobody's going to steal it. And if they do, you can buy 50 more of them.
Yeah.
But it's a nice car that's reliable. You find something like that, like get a Nissan or something that's incredibly reliable that will get you to where you need to go, and nobody's gonna fucking steal it because they're gonna go through the parking lot of everywhere you go and be like, "Who drove that piece of shit? They probably work here," and they're gonna steal a nicer car. They're gonna be like, "Look at that Lexus next to it."
Mm-hmm.
Before 1990, there were like 2 songs ever that glorified money. Money, that's what I want. And Material Girl.
All right, that's not entirely true. I'm sure there's others. I just couldn't think of them right off.
Yeah, well, there
What-
were some hip hop songs, I'm sure, in the early 1990, late 89.
His point is well taken. It wasn't
Yeah.
common.
No, because it was considered gauche and also kind of sinful in some regard to be that obsessive with material goods. It was seen as a flaw.
Yeah.
Well, here's a short sampling of some more recent offerings.
Money is my bitch.
Yes.
And that's just the ones that have money in the title. Why does this matter? Because nothing molds teenage hearts and minds like music and music culture. This is true across generations.
And this is where I start to have a problem. Because I get the point. And I do think that, I think back on my own life and songs that I've heard and where lyrics have mattered to me. But I don't know that I've ever lived my life based on the songs that I heard.
Yeah, but we do live in a different culture now.
We do. But I mean, doesn't this kind of give some credibility to Tipper Gore and her crusade against violent or sexist music?
In a way, but Tipper Gore was a leftist. And so was Bill.
And a retail. Well, so is Bill.
Yeah.
But I think the problem isn't the music necessarily. It's the change in culture overall.
Yeah. Music is a reflection of the culture. It can help shift it, but it's not the only thing that's going on. And to put it all on that is ludicrous.
Well,
but
what I'm getting at is when I was young, in an age bracket that he's about to talk about, the song "Hey, We Want Some Pussy" came out by 2 Live Crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew the song and I liked the song and I sang the song. My mom didn't know I sang that song. But I had a mom that if I acted in the way that song talks about, my mom would have snatched my ass up and fixed things real quick.
Yeah, but your mom cared.
Yeah.
A lot of parents today don't.
And that's where I think the change is. It's easy to point to the music, and I do think there's a problem because all of it is this. So much of it is, look how much I got. I about vomited when Moana sings out her own fucking name in that movie.
And what about that panda movie where the shake your panda maker or whatever she says?
I'm not familiar.
The Red Panda movie. It's Teen Wolf, but for little kids.
Red Panda, I think it was called.
Yeah.
The allegory for a girl's period. It turns her into a monster.
Yeah, and she was it's
accurate.
But she
that's
charges
a dumbass
people
movie.
but she charges people to see her as a panda or whatever. And there's a line in there. I don't remember the exact line because I don't care enough to look it up. But it's something to the effect of "Shake Your Money Maker."
Turning red. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking dumb. It was Teen Wolf.
They should have named it Crotch Bleeding. It would have been better. Anyway, so I get the point here, though, but I think the problem is the lack of good role models and instilling good values in children, rather than it being it's kind of like letting your children be raised by TV rather than your children can watch TV, but they understand that it's make-believe, right?
Yeah. Well, parents used to communicate that sort of message to their children more. And now you're shamed as a parent if you have standards. If you say, no, this is not appropriate for my kid.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Do you realize what you're doing to your kid by not letting them do what every other degenerate little piece of shit out there's doing?
Yeah. Little Billy's out there plowing puss at 8. Why is it your kid? You should let him do whatever they want. You should let he identifies as a dinosaur sexual and he lights fires for release. You should let your kid do that, apparently.
When you turn 12, you're done with your parents and start getting raised by pop stars.
No. That actually happened to me at 14 when mom died, Jack. And even then, I was still being raised by my parents because the values they instilled in me mattered rather than what I heard on the fucking radio.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think more parents have become indifferent or afraid to do anything, and they are letting the culture guide their kids. You know how obsessive teenage girls were over like New Kids on the Block and shit like that. Imagine if that went unchecked.
Yeah. But again, the problem there is parenting. It's not the music.
Oh, I agree. The music is would be toned down more if parents were not spending the money on this stuff. But
fuck, how many times have we seen little kids twerking to some of this fucking horrible music?
Oh, too many to count. And the parents allow it, like the parents not becoming gatekeepers for their children is what's causing these issues that he's talking about from what I've seen so far. Because he's talking about a lack of gatekeeping. When people just give their kids credit cards or an account and say buy whatever, they're going to buy things that fulfill their id, because children are very impulsive, ego-driven monstrosities, and they're narcissists.
Yeah.
So they're going to buy stuff that reflects that sort of desire. There's no restraint. They're not being taught that restraint. So yeah, they're going to buy a bunch of stuff that immediately is like what their friends are listening to or whatever draws them in. But yeah, my parents had to buy me a CD. If I wanted one, and I was like under working age, I had to rely on them to buy it, and they would look at what it was and say, okay, you can have this, or no, fuck you, you're not getting this.
Even when I had my own money, birthday money, or when I started working, mom still approved music that I got. She still approved movies that I would buy. You know what I mean? Hey, can I get this? I have my own money. It still had to go through mom. Not anymore, man. Mom's just like, yeah, you do you, boo. Nobody knows you like you do.
Well, I mean, if they can decide to go on sex hormones, why wouldn't you let them buy their own music?
So if he would have hit that point more specifically, he's right. But there is the big change is, maybe you start listening to some music. Maybe it has some effect on you, but it's still within the bounds of what your parents instilled in you.
Yeah. And an important value that should have been instilled in people's generosity. Like, share, and subscribe. Toss us money if you can.
He just leaves it at, it's always been like this. It's always been. No, it hasn't.
No.
Clap, clap, clap.
The older people have the money and the power, but kids rule the charts. And the lyrics of your youth are burned into your brain like that time you saw your father getting out of the shower.
She laughs a little too weird at that.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is, but there's some pain behind that laughter.
I don't remember a lot from 8th grade. Don't get me on the formula for the radius of a circle, but if you asked me to finish the lyric, all you need is, I'm pretty sure I could come up with love. But if I asked a kid today to finish that lyric, what would they say? I'm not sure, but I know what their heroes say. They say things like, diamonds on my neck, I like boarding jets, but nothing in this world that I like more than checks.
And he just goes on from there, Jack, talking about, a whole lot of bad lyrics and stuff and why this is bad for society. And I don't necessarily disagree. But again, the big problem there is not the music. It's the culture that's allowing this to be what's out there. Why would any child be listening to Cardi B?
Because they have shit parents.
Yeah. But their parents like it.
Don't.
We have a problem with not understanding that children and adults are different. We have so many people these days who raise their children as though they're their friends rather than their charge.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to gatekeep for your kids anymore. Parents are either afraid or ignorant. I think that's a big problem these days. Is they don't want to discipline their children; they want to be their kid's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are just afraid to do anything because they don't want to get ostracized by their friends or yelled at by some social worker or child psychologist. It's like, you're oppressing your children.
Sorry, I just read what Lisa put into chat. I'm not going to read it out, but I hope it works out for you. I really do. we just need to stop treating children like adults. And this is something that goes back to it. It has its roots in the 90s where suddenly you had to be your child's friend. I was not my mom's friend.
Yeah.
Now, if she had lived, maybe we grow up and become friends and when I'm an adult. But we weren't friends. I was her child. It was her job to raise me right so that I could be an adult one day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the responsibility you take as a parent.
My child is my best friend is the worst. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people say that. And it's different if your child is grown up. If you say your son is your best friend and your son is 35, that's different than my son is my best friend and he's 5.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be your best friend at 5.
Yeah, weirdo.
And at 15, he should get mad at you on an occasional basis because you're supposed to tell him no. And kids don't like to hear no.
Yeah.
I knew I was doing at least decent as a parent when I overheard my daughter say, I hate dad, when she'd gotten in trouble. I knew she didn't mean it. And I understood why she was mad because she got in trouble. I was the same way when I was a child. If I got in trouble, even if I was wrong, I was mad at mom. How dare you? But we have parents today who just do not understand that is your job, is to mold your child. And sometimes that means telling them no. Sometimes that means disappointing them. And instead, I mean, it wouldn't matter. We would still have shitty kids even if the music was great today, Jack, because of who's raising them.
Yeah, the important thing is if you have a daughter, go to her recitals so she doesn't become a whore.
100, well, or a stripper, Jack.
That's a whore.
It depends.
That's a cock tease prostitute.
There you go. There'll be an OnlyFans model.
Yeah, still a whore. It's just a mild degree of it. I'm with the Romans on that one.
Cats in the cradle. Stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up here. We're only an hour and a half in, but I'm exhausted, Jack. I'm gonna go lay back down.
What?
I'm tired, man.
I'm sleepy. I'm monkey. I want naps.
Oh, dude, I crawled into bed yesterday after my game stream, and the kitty who never curls up with me, I tell you guys this all the time because she doesn't. She comes and she lays half on me. I'm like, oh, hey, baby. And I'm petting her. And she slides off over to the left. So she's kind of curled up in my arm and passed out and went to sleep.
Aw.
So I fell asleep on my back because I was not moving the kitty cat. I don't sleep on my back. I don't like to, but that's how I fell asleep because I was not. She finally cuddled with me like that. I was not moving. I think that's like the third time she's ever cuddled with me like that. And she's like almost 3 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah, she's such a sweetie, though. She was very dad-centric today. She spent a lot of the day on my shoulder. She spent a lot of the day in my lap in here. I don't know why, but every so often she's like, I just need my dad. And I'm okay with it. Yeah. I wish my children were like that.
Well, they're getting kind of old for that now.
I know, but I miss it. They used to be like that when they were little. They'd cuddle with dad. I used to lay on the couch and I would just tap it and my daughter would just come and lay down with me and watch TV.
Aw.
I know, right? She's too old for that now, but it's one of those things that when it stops, it breaks your heart, but you understand because they're too old for that now.
Yeah.
But it's still your little girl. You just want to cuddle her.
You need to get like a chihuahua because they're cold all the time. So it'll come up and cuddle with you.
I'm not a dog person. They're too needy.
That you're describing exactly what a dog would do for you. And you're like, they're too needy.
No, but you heard what I said with her, right? She doesn't do it very often.
Oh, yeah.
If it was all the time, be like, get the fuck off me. See, that's the difference. I don't want needy. I want loving.
We used to have this cat, Jerry. He was a black cat, and he would constantly show you his fangs, right? Just that was how he smiled, I think. But he would not sit on your lap. He'd sit right next to you. That was how he showed you he liked you. It was like he had a big personal space bubble. But it was nice because he was close enough that you could pet him, but far enough away you weren't constantly having to move him to move. Like, all right, get off my lap. I got pee.
Well, with Phoebe, she won't let me sit down with her anywhere except in this room. Lady Monkey saw her today, and she was like, wait, is she sitting in your lap? For some reason, in this chair, she'll stay in my lap and just purr. But if I try sitting down with her upstairs, she gets up and leaves.
Your cat has some kind of weird OCD.
She's a strange cat. I love her to death, but she's the weirdest cat I've ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Sorry about the shortened show. I wanted to start earlier, Jack, but I slept longer than I meant to.
That's why you shouldn't sleep. It's bad for you. Makes you miss things.
Well, I keep going to bed. The last couple of nights, I keep going to bed at like 6 or 7 thinking, oh, it's me. I'll be up before midnight.
And you haven't learned?
No, and then tonight I caused an earthquake in Oklahoma.
Another earthquake. You were asleep when the last one happened, remember?
That's true. And all the aftershocks, actually.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. We really, really appreciate it. Jack, anything you'd like to shell out?
No, just like, share, subscribe. You can give us money after the show. I got nothing. Otherwise, I haven't been very productive lately.
If you're on Rumble, hit the thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Share it with your friends, your family, that bitch you hate. Tell them to come hang out with us. We have a good time. If you know a troll, bring them by. We haven't had enough of those lately, Jack.
Because they're not very good when we get them.
Well, one of those that was in chat, one of the first ones, is the idiot I was arguing with on Twitter. They use the same picture. It's a dead giveaway. I offended a retard and they followed us over here. That's all right. Thanks for the view.
Yeah. I hope you hit the like button.
Jack, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Guys, have yourselves a wonderful night. We'll catch y'all next time. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
I would sing a song, but I don't want to influence the youth and have Bill Maher say I'm a bad person. although I agreed with most of his premise. Bye, guys.